Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. Good evening and welcome to this meeting of the Council. So before we begin, please can members sit in their allocated seats, silence their mobile phones. If you are able to, please stand up when proposing and seconding motions or items. Switch microphones on to speak and off immediately afterwards. And please observe the appropriate standards of courtesy in debate. If there is an emergency, please turn left out of the chamber, follow the green emergency exit signs to the main town hall entrance and assemble in St George's Square. Please note, this meeting is being live streamed to the public. Members of the public present are entitled to take photographs, film or audio record and report on the business held in public, but they must not act in a manner that is disruptive. If they do so, they may be asked to leave. So, the first item of business is to receive the minutes of the meeting of the Council held on the 21st of January 2026 as set out on pages 3 to 5. 20th of January, it says here. Do all members agree that this is the correct record? Agreed. Okay, so we now have apologies for absence. Are there any apologies for absence?
We have a number of apologies this evening, Lady Mayor, from Councillor Ambier, Gillian Fry, Councillor Shaw and Fatima Begum.
Thank you. Okay, so members, please note that voting will be by exception, other than with the exception of the motion on the budget this evening. Rather than calling each member's name to record their vote, I will ask members to indicate if they wish to vote against a motion. If no member votes against, I will declare that item carried. The outcomes will not be recorded in minutes unless 6 members of the Council indicate they wish for this to happen in accordance with Standing Order 21.2. So on announcements, please note that there will be a community iftar at Venue 360 on the 1st of March 2026 from 3:30 p.m. Doors will open at 3 p.m. This will be in support of CAP Foundation's Orphans Village. Tickets are available on Eventbrite. If you need a link, let me know. It's a worthy cause, and this is also the focus of fundraising at the Officers' Iftar, which will be held here in the Town Hall on the 3rd of March, where I will be joining colleagues from across the Council in fasting for the day. And whilst this Iftar is aimed at those who do not usually observe the fast, all are more than welcome, and members of the Council are encouraged to contribute to the Iftar meal. And finally, on the 12th of March, I'll be hosting the Mayor's Iftar again here at the Town Hall. This will be in aid of the CAP Foundation's work in Gaza, and members of the Council are encouraged to contribute. Members of the Council are encouraged to attend at least one of those very special events. Right, so we're on to Section 106, disclosures.
All members of the Council have been circulated with a list of items before the Council this evening, which fall within the ambit of Section 106 of the Local Government and Finance Act of 1992. Any member affected should disclose the fact and refrain from voting on any question relating to those items. Madam Mayor, we have not received any disclosures of interest on 106, and we have not received any other disclosures of interest at all this evening.
Thank you. So, on budget voting procedure, the names of councillors voting on a budget motion decision must by law be recorded in the minutes of this meeting. So this will apply to the next agenda item, which is agenda item 5.1. So at the appropriate time, the Chief Executive will call out each member's name in turn. That you will then please respond with for, against or abstain so that your vote can be appropriately recorded. So first off, we have recommendations from the Executive, which is the budget report. So I will now invite Councillor Roach to please move this agenda item 5.1.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I am pleased to present the revenue budget for 26-27, the medium-term financial strategy, the capital programme and the statutory council tax resolution report before the council this evening. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the Section 151 officer and his finance team for the work they have done in preparing this budget in such a short space of time and also putting up with myself. Since 2010, Luton has had £170 million taken out its budget by a Conservative government supported for 5 years by the Liberal Democrats, pushing austerity onto the people of Luton. History has shown austerity was failed philosophy, driven by a right-wing ideology. All it did was to decimate our public services, restrict growth, harm productivity and deliver many of the challenges local and national government are facing today. This Labour group has continuously brought forward a balanced budget despite the severe challenges we have faced, always fighting for the people of Luton against the Conservative Liberal austerity programme and dealing with the impacts of COVID-19. I stand here today proud that a Labour government has come forward with a fair funding formula that we and our Labour MPs have been lobbying for many years. I would like to thank our Labour MPs for their support and thank the Labour government for coming forward with this formula. It does not deal with the cuts we have seen over the years, but it is a welcome start in reversing the damage done by the parties on the other side of this chamber. Firstly, I need to deal with the amount from the fair funding approach. The government have pledged £139 million over a 4-year period. However, it's £116 million over 3 years that we are dealing with in this budget today. The figures given include the provision that the council will increase the council tax over the next 3 years at 4.99%, including adult social care precept. In real terms, this amounts to an extra £87.13 million over 3 years. Still only a fraction of what they took, but a responsible and meaningful indication that this Labour government understands the challenges we face in Luton and values our financial responsibility and trusts our ability to deliver. To support our residents, the increase in council tax is backed up by a good welfare package which includes council tax reduction, council tax exceptional financial hardship fund. On the hardship fund, I was approached by the Luton City Vice Bureau and asked if we would consider changing the policy, as they felt, based on what they had been seeing, it needed to change. We listened, and the hardship fund will be uplifted to support our residents to a multi-year policy in line with what the City Vice Bureau have asked us to do. We're also concentrating on financial resilience to support residents in crisis, debt support, maximising income, job opportunities and skills. We are in a positive position and once again delivered a balanced budget, and with transformation and savings we'll balance the budget for the next 3 years despite Luton facing the brunt of the most severe impact of the Conservative Liberal austerity programme. This administration has consistently delivered savings, met targets and been fiscally prudent whilst facing the increase in demand caused by the choices made on the opposite side of this chamber. The last financial year we have been working hard as an executive and administration to bring down the pressures that we've seen hit this council over many years. Working closely as a collective of members, we have reduced the pressures in the Council of Demand Services and still working to bring down lower. The demand has not changed over the year, but we have still brought down the spending, although that demand is still the same as it's always been. Adult social care last year was just over £9 million overspend. It now stands at a forecast of £1.93 million for this year. For the end of this year, this is for this financial year, the support of savings and transformation. Homeless and temporary accommodation last year was just over £4 million, looking to be on budget for the first time in many years. Today I stand proud to say that this Labour administration, for the first time in many years, do not have any families in bed and breakfast, something which seemed unthinkable only a few years ago. Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing?
Sorry, is that part of your speech?
No, I'm just asking why you're laughing. Okay, I'll carry on then. Okay. Temporary accommodation is lowest since 2016, remarkable considering that the pressure on housing only seems to have got worse since then thanks to continued failure of Conservative housing policy over the last 15 years. In children's services, the cost has not really changed from last year. We've worked hard over the year and know what needs to be done. The concerns are the cost of demand on the placements of children with complex needs with the private sector. We have seen costs rising dramatically in 1 year. We will continue to work in that area to bring the cost of demand down. We are investing £6 million into children's services to stabilise and support to a balanced budget. Transformation continues to deliver not only in the savings but offer the non-financial benefits also in the change of culture and environment in which we operate. This is a Labour administration that is looking forward and reinvesting in our community. We have listened to the community and reacting. Work has been done on making Luton Station fully accessible, and we will continue to keep the pressure on Network Rail for the full development to match the investment and ambition going on in our town centre. Construction is underway of the stage, representing over £100 million investments in the town centre by the council, providing new homes, new commercial space, new performance space, and a new gateway into our town centre. We will deliver an additional 500 new homes for Luton residents over the next 2 years to tackle the housing crisis faced across the town and give hope to young people who dream of owning their own homes. Over the next 18 months, we will be investing £3 million in all play parks across the whole town, including new provision for disabled children. We're providing new funding of $500,000 to sports pitches infrastructure over the next 12 months, $320,000 to new traffic enforcement cameras to support road safety. We are investing an additional $750,000 in new schools road safety programme. Planned investments of up to $12 million in our town centre public realm over the next 24 months. We are investing over the next 18 months $3.7 million redeveloping the Berry Park and Lucy community centres. Investing an additional $2 million in a new village approach to improve neighbourhoods, making them cleaner and greener. We will be undertaking more deep cleans, additional mini-beats and area-based working. Also, we have recently acquired the equivalent of 133 bed homes to support Luton residents seeking temporary accommodation. We have secured $950,000 from the National Lottery Heritage Fund to deliver the Nature Towns and Cities project, which will improve the quality and access our open green spaces. We are supporting Luton families and children by investing over $33 million in 2 new SEND schools to give children the education they need. We have secured over $2.6 million for a new cricket dome for the town, with construction now getting underway to pave the way for the England stars of the future. Quickly progressing plans with Goodmans to see the full redevelopment of the IBC plant through its closure, seeing over $400 million invested locally and up to 2,700 new jobs. Investing in a sustainable drainage system for flood risk. We'll continue to develop plans for the expansion of Luton Airport following the Labour government approval of our DCO application to deliver economic growth, jobs and skills for our town, something which the Liberal Democrats failed to support. This is a Labour administration with a balanced budget, dealing with the pressures and investing in our communities after more than 14 years of Tory cuts enabled by the Lib Dems. Whilst those opposite have no plans to deal with the challenges we face, no plan for economic growth, failed to back airport expansion, clueless on how to deal with traffic challenges in Berry Park, nothing to say about how they would tackle the housing crisis, whilst they are clueless, we on this side of the chamber are getting on with the fighting for Luton and delivering of the people of our town. In moving the recommendation of the executive set out in paragraph 1 to paragraph 11, on pages 6 to 8 of the agenda, I further move that the table showing the aggregate amount for council tax set out recommended to be placed by the table circulated around the council. Before we move on, Madam Mayor, the officers just told me if you look at the paper that you have, on the band A, the total figure should be 162662 and not 63. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Is the motion seconded? Right. Thank you. Right, so I now propose to take any questions on the report. Before taking those questions, I'd advise that under the standing orders, a member may ask only one question plus supplementaries. However, I do have the discretion to allow a member to ask more than one question if appropriate. In accordance with the budget protocol, I'm going to allow the first member of each of the Liberal, Democrat and Conservative groups who indicate that they wish to ask a question to ask an unlimited number of questions and supplementaries of the mover of the motion within a total time of 20 minutes each. The normal rules will then apply to all other members. So, Are there any questions on the report? Okay. Are you taking the 20 minutes? Yeah? Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Let's get straight to the business to save over time. My first question is, the Green Book shows the general fund's net expenditure increasing from 223 million to 257.4 million, which is approximately 34 million, which is about 15% rise in 1 year. Can Trier confirm clearly what single factor explains the majority of this increase?
What page are you looking at?
It's page number 1
On the agenda? On the
on
budget?
the Green Book.
On the what, sorry?
On Green Book.
Okay, what item was it?
On Green Book, it's
I'm on page 1, sorry.
yes.
Yeah.
So it's regarding your net expenditures growth.
The total net expenditure or funding of net expenditure? There's 2 net expenditures there. Well, 3 actually. There's a general fund net expenditure or the funding of net expenditure at the bottom. Is it the fund? Because I think that's the figure you quoted.
So it is, this is if you go 4 paragraph.
Oh, you're looking at the figure of 223,023, 257,423. Okay. If you look in front of that, there's a minus. Minus in local authority accountancy means money coming in. I don't know if that answers your question.
Can you understand first question what I asked you for? What is single factor explain the majority of this increase?
Well, it's there, in front of you in the Green Book. It's there. It tells you. If you read it, it's there.
Okay, let's carry
I
on.
don't want to do your work for you, but
Okay. Of the 257.4 net expenditure, how much is the recurring structural cost that will automatically roll forward into 27 and 28 tax?
sorry, where are we looking again? You have to tell me where you're looking so I can follow what your question is.
It's still page number 1.
Okay.
Number 57. And if you look at second from the bottom, please.
Second from the bottom.
Yeah.
Second from the bottom, I thought we'd just done a taxation number band D equivalent properties, is that it? Could we just done the funding of net expenditure? And that's second from the bottom. Sorry, put your mic on, please, Councillor.
Point of order, Madam Mayor. Who is asking the questions?
Councillor Malik is asking the questions, please.
I was just clarifying what he was reporting.
Right-hand side, the figure is 257,423.
we just done that one? We've done that one.
No, you don't know. The previous one, you are just taking time on. Okay, let's carry on the next to save time. Appendix L outlines unavoidable cost growth of over 35 million, which is page 22 and 2023, yeah?
The page.
22 to 23. Yeah. What is the projected gap for 2027 and 2028, assuming current demand trend continue?
You're looking at the gap of 26, 27 to...
I'm looking for the gaps for 2026. So what gap you are carrying on for next year?
We're looking through savings next year of 10 million. Okay, that's not the gap. The gap could. We're looking to do savings the year after with of around about 15 million in total in savings. The gap will be the growth, the assumption of the growth in relation to allowing for pension movement, allowing for council tax, for inflation, payments, wages. It's really difficult to say, but I can refer back to you in writing on that one, if you like. Would that be okay? Okay.
Next question is about capital financing charge. Capital financing charge are budgeted to 37.3 million. Can the trader confirm the council's total outstanding borrowing today, and how much of this relates to commercial investment versus core services infrastructure?
Yeah, clarify the question. You're talking about the capital program.
I'm asking you capital financing charge, yeah, which is 37.3 million.
Where sorry?
It's on page 1.
Page 1, sorry, okay. I can't see it. Oh, capital financing, I've got it, yeah. Okay. What's it you asked? What's the question? Sorry.
This capital finances charge, yes. So can you confirm us that what is today's our total borrowing is? And also how much for this relates to commercial investment versus service infrastructure?
The total borrowing against the financial cost, off the top of my head, is around about 700 million. Okay, around about that sort of figure. It's in here, if you want to find it. It'll be in there. Okay, but it's around about that sort of figure, probably just a little bit over that. And what was the other question?
This relates to commercial investment versus core service infrastructure.
Then question, I do apologise. We'll refer back to you on that one because I don't really understand the question, and the officers will do that for me. Thank you.
Okay, let's move on. The council relies on 47 million of investment income. If that income decreased by 10%, which is 4.7 million shortfall, what is the contingency plan we have?
Where are you looking at now?
This is about, it's still on page 1. It's about our investment income. I thought being, like a trader, you have figures in your mind and you know where it is.
No, he's talking about interest on the investment, 47, and if that fell by 10%, what would you...
You're talking about interest on investment?
Yes.
And you're making an assumption that it goes up by 10%?
It goes down by 10%.
Well, that's an assumption, isn't it, really? I deal with reality, not assumptions most of the time.
What do you reckon about the properties, the commercial income at the moment? They are going up or they are going down? So I think we are right to make assumptions about it.
Well, if you're looking at, you're looking at the interest on investment. Again, that's money coming into the council. I don't. You're talking about interest on investment here of 47 million and 40 and 47. It's money coming in to the council.
I read somewhere that is 33.3 million. That is on your investment.
Sorry, can you speak louder and clearer,
Yeah,
please?
I'm not sure what's going on here, Madam Mayor.
Okay, no. Let's move on then.
To warn you, you've used 10 minutes of your time, okay?
Why are we transferring 13.6 million into operational reserves in a year where residents are facing a 5% council tax rise?
I think the question was, why are we putting 13.6 million in reserves? Why the residents are facing the council tax increase? What reserves are we talking about?
We are transferring, if you look at on your page 1, on 19, that the reserve on 19 that we are transferring some money to the reserves, so which is 13.6 million.
Line 19.
I don't have a number on my line.
So item number 19
19,
there,
okay.
yeah?
Well, yeah,
Operational reserves.
It's-
We have to.
it's quite clear that the operational reserves, and that's what we have to. That's what we're transferring in. The operational reserves, 13.6 million, to be prudent as a council in relation to our budget.
Still the question is on page 1. After reserves movement, what is the remaining usable general funds balance and what percentage of net expenditure does that represent?
Look at it again.
Which item number?
Which item number?
It is the continuation of the previous question.
So what was the question then, sorry?
Okay. So after reserve movement, when we move the reserves, what is the remaining usable general fund balance and what percentage of net expenditure does that represent?
Refer to you in writing on that. Thank you.
Can Treasury confirm that whether there is any foreseeable risk of Section 114 notice within the next 3 years?
Well, I can confirm, that alongside transformation and savings for the next 3 years, we have a balanced budget. Thank you.
Population well-being rises from 107 millions to 118.4 millions. How much of this increase relates to demographic growth, inflation, prior overspends being built into the base, and adult social care?
You're going to have to repeat your question because what we're looking at there is growth in the council. And the growth, as I say, could be growth in relation to demand. It could be down to pay awards. It could be down to inflation. It could be down to cost. If you're looking at a whole picture there, that whole paragraph.
So we are on page 20 about adult social services, yeah? Purchased care services, residential nursing, supported living, 38.7 million. Non-residential care is 26.3 million. What is the current average annual cost per service user in residential care?
Well,
These are different.
yes, I mean, we're dealing with needs here, demands, so we can't work that out here, but we'll get them to refer to you in writing. Okay.
So residents are contributing 19.7 million through the adult social care precept. What measurable improvement will residents see as a direct result of that percentage, of that charge?
Well, you can start seeing the improvements, in the pressures and the budget. You can start seeing improvements in relation to what adult social care in doing with demand, in transformation, and also there will be regular meetings with the portfolio holder to ensure that's held to account.
Page 7. Page 7, the department rises from 76.1 million to 88.7 million. How many external residential placement currently exceeded 5,000 per week?
Sorry, Council.
Page 7.
Page 7. Yeah, where?
If you look at from the bottom, the second one, please.
The capital financing charges. One down or second one top, or
Second one from bottom, please.
that's the capital financing charges, yes? If that's what you're asking, the capital financing charges is what that department pays in relation to the capital programme and what they call the minimum reserve provision.
So Appendix L on page 22. Demographic growth for children's residential and home care total serves several millions pounds. What safeguards are in place to prevent continued escalation?
As I mentioned in the forwarding, really, we're aware of the issues in children's services. We're aware of the cost of demand in relation to complex needs, and it's all done by private ownership. The cost needs to come down. We've invested 6 million into children's services to help stabilise that budget this year. Thank you.
Two minutes remaining.
So it's page number 1 again. Regarding your business rate risk. What proportion of business rates income depends on a small number of major ratepayers?
Case for
Page 1. Yes, and it's Appendix N.
item 1. There's no appendix on page 1.
Page 1, reference Appendix N. No, N. I'm asking this. Appendix N.
No appendix on page 1.
It's number.
We're out of time, but if you can clarify, not quite, almost out of time. If you can clarify what you mean, then Okay, we are out of time. Right. So, did we have someone from the Conservative group? Sorry. Is it Councillor Aslam? Okay, Councillor Aslam.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. My question is more related to increase in income, and if you look at page 45, obviously there is list of categories of trading services and commercialization. Now, this council set out an ambitious program for itself to commercialize and grow income so we're less reliant on central government funding. Can the portfolio holder explain the reason for low growth in those trading services and why, after 10 years of investment, we have not been able to grow our income other than the airport?
Thank you. I'm not sure where the 10 years of investments come from, but no, it's still an aim on the transformation programme to increase the income in relation to the enabling services. So yes, it's still an aim. Have we got to where we want to be? Probably not, but it's still an aim, and we hope to reach there in the next 12 months or so. The transformation programme is still going on, and it's still working on these areas. Thank you.
Follow-up question. Can you explain your housing targets which were set by Foxhall Homes, that was one of our vehicles, to deliver much-needed housing? Instead of increasing our housing targets, we seem to be going down at a time when our housing, we have one of the worst housing crises in the country. Can you explain the reason why?
Yeah, one of the reasons is basically due to the bankruptcy, I guess, of two building sites, companies that went bankrupt on us over in Taylor Street and Strangers Way, which delayed a lot of sites. Strangers Way is now coming on board, and I believe Taylor Street is also on its way. Foxhall Homes also developing the one in Mars Farm in Freeman's Green, which is on its way. Foxhall Homes is coming back with a business proposal to the executive, and hopefully we should be getting back to levels where it should be. Thank you.
Another follow-up, Madam Mayor. So, when you're saying you're hoping, can you be a bit more specific and give some projections from growth? Any organisation, any council would have an ambition, a target to set. So, compared to past 2 years, how will you grow? What targets will you set, and how will you achieve them?
The target for the next 2 years is 500 houses, and as I say, there's a business proposal coming through to how we're going to receive that and achieve that. Foxhall Homes is in a status of change to help also reach those targets. It's not hopefully, we want to do that, obviously, as you quite rightly say, for the benefit of the residents. But the target will be 500, and we'll be working closely, the Foxhall Homes will be working closely with the board to make sure they reach those targets. Obviously, they'll come to scrutiny, and obviously they'll come to the shareholders group, where it also can be scrutinised and accountable for.
500, don't you think that seems to be a small drop in the ocean when you've got almost 12,000 people on the waiting register? When we have so much land in surrounding areas, as well as opportunity to redevelop some of the brownfield sites, have that not crossed your mind or everyone else's at a time when we're facing housing crisis? There are people sleeping on the streets, and yet a 500 after 10 years of planning, Foxhall Homes, the lot, and yet we're going backwards instead of moving forwards. Why is that?
Housing policy of the government at the time doesn't help. Okay, doesn't help at all. Are we looking at I don't really want to go into the Foxhall Homes business plan because it needs to go through the executive and go through private. So I don't really want to go into detail about Foxhall Homes, but obviously that will come to scrutiny, and obviously you can ask those questions there also, but I'd rather not do it today in a public meeting of the budget. Brownfield sites we're looking at. We're also looking through the HRA. We're looking at the old garage sites. There's a lot we're looking at. You're right, we do need to try and build more. We do need to try and build outside. and I can promise that is being looked at, but I'd rather not go into the Foxhall Homes business plan tonight and let that obviously take fruition and come back for you to have a look at in scrutiny. Thank you.
One more. So looking at your trading and commercial services, where do you think that your growth will come from? Your biggest growth?
Services, really. At the moment, you know, and this could change. At the moment, I see the biggest growth coming from the school trading services at this moment of time. But as I say, transformation's in place, and they're in that department now looking how to expand income and work with the services. Again, that will come to scrutiny for the transformation programme for you to check. But at the moment, I see it through these shared school services. But certainly, that we're looking at the income growth through transformation in other areas, all areas at the moment.
Just lastly, Madam Mayor, I'm afraid it's just a shot in the dark. There's no clear set strategy. There's no clear set plans or targets for growth, which means forever this council will be going around with a begging bowl and asking for money when we have real opportunity for this town, which has...
Is that a question?
Yeah, would you see that there's a real opportunity for growth and there is an opportunity to set real targets for growth more accurately?
I think we can agree on that, Councillor. Thank you.
Councillor Khan, do you have any further questions? Yes. No? Okay. Okay. So, right, any questions from other members of the chamber? Okay. Councillor Stevens first.
In the narrative on page 24 of 215, it talks about the priorities of the public, one of which was street cleanliness. So can the portfolio holder, in reference to page 13, item 46, explain why there is a drop of almost £123,000?
We're going to be delivering a £2 million increase in street cleaning this year, and that's a 66% increase on what you're seeing there now, and you'll see that in the next Green Book. Thank you.
I have a supplementary, Madam Chair. There is a very good scheme that's going on in both Dallow, I believe, but certainly in South, which is the village cleansing scheme. If we have this kind of drop in the budget for cleansing, does this mean to say that we're not going to roll this scheme out, which seems to be successful, to other wards around the town?
The village approach has been adopted across the town.
Okay. So I have Councillor Taylor.
On a similar theme, Madam Mayor, would the portfolio holder for finance agree with me that that additional £2 million going into street cleaning will have a huge effect on the cleanliness of our wards, and that 66% increase is a major stepping stone for street cleaning in our town?
Yes, I can totally agree on that. It will have a massive impact on the residents, especially in the areas where we know where it's causing the street cleaning and the rubbish is causing massive problems. So it'll have a massive impact, especially 66% increase is a good increase, a massive increase going in towards street cleansing. Thank you.
Thank you. I've got Councillor Franks.
We're back to the Green Book, Madam Mayor, on capital programme. So page 28, line 4, gives us the shocking, and I mean it shocking, understanding that Luton is still using old-fashioned wet film in its speed cameras. There's a £65,000 allocated for the 26-27 budget for digitisation of speed cameras. I wonder if the councillor could confirm that Luton is the only council in the United Kingdom still using this ancient technology, wet film cameras.
I can't confirm that. I don't know what other councils are doing.
Could the councillor repeat the answer, please?
I'm not aware what other councils in the country are doing, so I can't confirm that for you. All I can confirm is that we've been investing money into that area to bring them up to standard.
Well, is he proud that in 26-27 the council is still using wet film cameras, and does he find that part of the explanation for the fact that nobody, well not quite nobody, but certainly many, many, many people driving around Luton ignore speed limits?
Let's see now. On the back of 170 million taken out of the budget, back of 14 years austerity, am I proud of that? We're going to invest money this year to make sure it's put right. Thank you.
Okay. I have Councillor Mahmood Hussain. Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The portfolio for finance agree with me that thanks to the Labour government that the fair funding, can you elaborate in terms of the Resilience Fund, what difference will it make to the quality of life of people in Luton?
About 6.3 million. Yeah, okay. Yes, it'll make a massive difference. The 6.3 million is there for a resilience fund to support people in crisis. It's there to support transformation. It's there to allow the executive to allow them to invest money where that money is going to be needed to support the residents of Luton who are in crisis.
Okay. Councillor Bassett Mahmood.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Would the portfolio holder agree with me that the sphere of funding formula, which provides much needed investment to towns like Luton, will tackle deprivation and lift thousands of children in this town out of poverty after the lifting of the two-child cap, after the Conservatives and Liberal Democrats teamed up to push thousands of children in this town into poverty as a result of the two-child benefit cap?
Two-child cap is what we campaign for here. We always have done, to lift children out of poverty. It's a Labour way of doing things. In relation to the answer to your question, we've been campaigning here for many, many years. Every budget I stood here, and my colleague before me, asked for a fair funding formula. That's all we was asking for, to be treated fairly, unlike the councils of Westminster, who seem to have all the cash and the reserves in their money. This government has come in, and they're now saying to share the fair funding, to give us an equal funding based on what they see of our needs and demands and the costs that we face on a daily basis. Thank you.
Thank you. I've got Councillor Matt Fry.
Talk. Before I start, I'd just like to thank whoever put the lean green traffic enforcement machine in the budget. That was really good and made a smile in my face. I just want a quick question about savings. If we look at page 26 in the Green Book, am I right in saying that the total savings for 25-26 were only £500,000, just over £500,000?
That don't sound right to me. No, I've got to say. The savings for 25-26, I don't know where the figure of £500,000 is coming from, in all fairness.
I think it's here.
It's down the bottom here, isn't it? Yeah, so the savings are 10,947.
No, that's the 26-27. The 25-26 total savings in the first column goes to 5,547.
Yes, that's the savings that have been carried forward from other years.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I have supplemental? So if we refer to item 82 on page 45 of the agenda tonight, this says that the level of savings detailed in Appendix M is shown as 185 million. Is that correct? Page 45, the table under savings and increased income. Is that table correct?
Yes, that's correct, yes.
£185 million in savings that you've made in the...
It talks about increase in income, does it not?
Okay, all right. So, of the 10.6 million saving... Another supplemental, please.
As long as it's on the same topic.
Yes. Okay. Just in the Green Book last year, we said you were going to do 10.6 million savings. And how much of that 185 million is related to that 10.6?
I'm going to have to ask the officers to refer back to you in writing on that, if that's okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Ajisola?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Portfolio Holder, for the presentation. I'm sure you'll agree with me that the budget proposal before us is fundamental to the continued delivery of our Luton 2040 vision, which remains central to achieving our long-term strategic objectives for the town. So may I therefore ask whether you agree that this budget has been carefully structured to ensure value for money for our residents, balancing financial responsibility with sustained investments in priorities that matter most to our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. I think we can confirm that in the speech at the beginning. The structure is done by the finance team and the portfolio of finance. The value for money will be done by portfolio holders in relation to accountability with the service directors.
Right. Councillor Javed Hussain.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. May I ask my finance portfolio holder, without the additional funding from our Labour government, would we be in a position to be able to put an additional 750k in for road safety? Because road safety is a very, very important. Why having to choose one school over another? Why should one child's safety be less important than another? Can you confirm that we wouldn't be able to do this if we didn't have the additional funding from a Labour government?
Thank you, Councillor. It would have been very difficult, very, very difficult. However, what we need to do is prioritise our spending. You know, if we got a safety issue around a school, we need to try and deal with that and look for the money elsewhere. But it would have been tough. This funding from the Labour government has helped us to make our schools safe from a traffic programme point of view. Thank you. Yes. Yeah.
Right. I have Councillor Steve Moore. Oh, yeah.
Rachel's up, I think. No, so, well, my correction concerns collection rate. There's been a lot of grant handing of central government's fairer funding formula so far tonight. One thing central government has done has blackmailed RPCC and all others into taking the maximum police precept uplift by budgeting the maximum as the standard for all PCCs. Meaning to ask for anything less would just jeopardise crucial grants needed for the force to function. This uplift directly adds to the cost of living pressure on residents paying council tax. So how has the projected council tax collection rate for 26-27 been set at 96.5, as stated in recommendation point 6 of the agenda tonight, when Appendix 2, page 106 of the full agenda, explicitly lowers the assumed collection rate from 96 to 95%, 1.5% points below the collection rate recommended, because when it like I say, the Appendix 2 assumes collection rate is 95% because the cost of living crisis is expected to worsen debt collection. What justifies projecting a higher collection rate in the budget when simultaneously acknowledging increased non-payment risk in the risk assessment, something that would be exacerbated by that police uplift?
You spoke about the collection rate. The last year, the collection rate for now, okay, for this financial year, is 96.5, and we're on target to make that. The collection rate in relation to the 2 million that you see in your green book is in relation to our arrears collection. We had a target of 8 million, and we've so far exceeded to 10 million. And it's not done because people are being nasty or going out there demanding money. It's done in the right way of intervention, working with people, using VoiceScape to inform people about council tax. Council tax is a priority debt. That's what we have to understand. It's a priority debt. So we need to make sure that people have the right advice to understand that they ensure they pay the council tax based on a priority debt to a non-priority debt. So we're doing all that work early with people who may be in arrears. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, okay. I've got Councillor Javeri Hussain.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Would the portfolio holder for finance agree with me that because of the fair funding formula introduced by our Labour government, our Labour administration here in Luton is able to invest £320,000 in new traffic enforcement cameras to demonstrate that we do take road safety seriously?
Yes, of course. I think we're all councillors and we know we've been bombarded with casework about speeding. We're looking to put that right with these enforcement cameras, and I'm sure everybody in this chamber would support that and not vote against this budget tonight. But yes, the fair funding formula has allowed us to do that. It has allowed us to prioritise the needs by listening to the people, what they're telling us they want us to do, and we're implementing that on their behalf. Thank you.
To ask a supplemental?
As long as it's on the same topic, yeah.
Yeah. She was on something to do with homelessness. Am I allowed to ask that or not? No? That's fine. Thank you.
Councillor Bridgen.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Does a finance portfolio holder agree with me that a Labour council governed by a Labour government balancing the budget on the backs of SEND families who have been burdened with a new SEND transport policy is totally contrary to the Luton 2040 vision of a child-friendly town?
Firstly, we're both in terrible state because of our football team. First thing. Okay. Secondly, oh yes, sorry Steve, yeah. And we're investing into SEND. We're investing into new schools, 2 new schools, into special education needs. The white paper come out today in relation to special education needs, and I know these officers and the leader are looking at that as we speak, and they will probably report back at some time to the council or through scrutiny of how that's going to happen. Thank you.
Supplementary, please. Yep, I totally agree with the football point. It's terrible. On the my question was specifically regarding the SEND transport policy. I'd just like to reiterate my question. Really, do you think that's in line with the council's vision of a child-friendly town?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. It's been consulted on. It's still in its second year of transformation. I govern at Woodland School, and they tell me that initially we had issues. The first in relation to when it first came in, but they say it's running quite well now. So yes, I do believe it's running well. Thank you.
Okay. So I have Councillor Umi Ali.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The increasing cost of residential placements in children's social care has been raised today. Would the portfolio holder agree that alongside legislative change to address the abhorrent profiteering in the children's residential care market by placing caps on profits of these large care companies, that the most effective way to address the rising cost of residential placements is through the sustained investment into early help and prevention that this Labour government and this Labour council are proposing, so that fewer children require the high-cost interventions in the first place.
Councillor, this is a massive problem for us as a council in relation to private enterprise that's going on out in placing our children with complex needs. Off the top of my head, I can't give you the percentages that they've increased by, but we're talking about massive in a very short time. And it's a demand that's a struggle. It's a demand that we have to pay, and it's also something the Labour government say they're now going to tackle, which I'm very, very pleased for, because it will help not just this council, it will help all councils who are suffering with children with this cost of placements for children with special education needs. Thank you.
Sorry, Madam Mayor, can I just do a supplementary?
As long as it's on the same topic.
It's the same thing. And do you agree that the best way to do this, whilst we wait for this legislative change, is that we continue to sustain investment into early help and prevention, as the Labour government and our Labour council are doing, so that fewer children require residential placements in the first place?
Absolutely. The whole strategy around this council is early intervention and prevention. Without that, we probably would not have all these children with families out of bed and breakfast. It's the right way to go. It's the right way to get in there quickly and not be reactive. So I totally agree. Thank you.
Do I have any other questions? Okay, right. First off, Councillor Underwood.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think it's just perhaps more of a clarification on page 14 in the inclusive growth section, item 75, flood risk management. The projected spend for 26-27 is 90,000 less than this year, 25-26. Is that figure correct? And is there a reason why it's been...
Sorry, did you say the item number? Sorry.
Yes, sorry, did I get it wrong? 75. Page 14.
What about flood risk management?
Yeah.
I need to refer back to you on that in writing, if I may. I'm not too sure of the answer to that one. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Councillor Keats.
Keep going, Rob. You're doing well. Green Book, page 14, item 75. Flood risk management.
Terry, can you speak up a little bit?
Can you just do that?
Councillor, ask that one.
Get another answer.
Well, I will ask the question. Yeah. Recently, in the newspaper, we were told that the council was going to write off £200,000 as bad debts. Why does this not appear in any of the books? Is that not a question? That's a question.
If you want to be generous,
I'll
you can let him go.
I'll be generous. You can answer that.
I'm not sure where it should appear.
No, do I sit down or what?
No. You should know by now, Terry.
The £200,000, if it is in here, would be an adjustment. I'm not sure if it is in the Green Book. The officers will confirm that for you. But also, it's done at executive. It's a right of executive. The council, the executive, give the officers a limited amount they can write off, and the rest of it has to come to council. But what I will say, into that 200,000, the majority of it is down to bankruptcy. It's down to people with deceased who don't have any money left, and it's debts that we feel it's going to cost more money to chase rather than to recuperate. Thank you.
Right, Councillor Marshall.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Can I refer to a question that hasn't already been asked? That's all right. So page 12, item 49 in the Green Book, it's relating to grounds maintenance reduction. and it sees a reduction from £21,500 down to £9,700. What would be the impact on that reduction on grounds maintenance services, please?
Item number, sorry?
49. I'll blame my PA.
Well, we're investing money into it this year, into the parks also. And I think you'll see that it's an estimate. So at the moment, it's based on where we are today. At the end of the financial year, that might be an adjustment there, and it might be a bit more. But certainly the officers will refer back to your writing of what that is at the end of the financial year.
Okay. Any further questions? Okay. Right. So, are there any amendments?
Amendment, Madam Mayor.
Okay.
I'll just wait a few moments for my colleagues to distribute, and then I'll speak to it.
If there is an amendment, should be. Just going to give everyone a minute to have a look.
I think that's been duly distributed, so if I speak to it now.
Okay, so can we? Yeah. Right. So with that, I call upon Councillor Bridgen to put his amendment.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you for the kind round of applause from the members opposite. I rise to move a Liberal Democrat amendment. It does two simple things. It refers the budget back to Executive to return with a properly balanced budget whilst restoring the SEND home to school and college transport support to the level we had before the April 2025 Executive decision to implement changes. And it's worth remembering how we got here. The Scrutiny Children's Services Review Group referred this matter back to Executive on the 26th of March 2025, and yet Executive decided to progress anyway on the 22nd of April 2025. That referral was brushed off with a comment along the lines of that it was simply the opposition playing politics. Whatever people think about the cut and thrust of party politics, scrutiny exists for a reason. And when it raises red flags on something as sensitive as SEND transport, it deserves to be treated seriously and not waved away. We're doing this because the evidence already coming through is that the new SEND transport approach is not working for everyone, and it is shifting stress and practical burden onto families and carers. We've now seen cases where families have faced months of uncertainty and lengthy appeals just to secure a workable outcome. One example taking 7 months and described as a summer of anxiety. We've also seen families effectively pushed towards public transport, an alternative arrangement, while structured travel training and support, without structured travel training and support that would make that safe and realistic for children with significant needs. Independence is a good goal, but it has to be supported, not simply assumed. So this amendment is about fairness and safeguarding and about putting forward a budget that doesn't balance itself on the backs of SEND families. I formally move this amendment.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder for the amendment? Oh, sorry.
Reserve the right.
So, are there any other speakers to the amendment? No. Thank you. Right, so, therefore, Councillor Franks, would you like to speak to the amendment?
It seems to us, Madam Mayor, that the new system for financing home to school and college transport for seriously disabled and children with extra educational requirements is a mean-minded and short-sighted move. Surprised, in a way, that a Labour council would want to even think about doing it. But then, every day, our Labour council looks more like a Tory one to me. But there you go. And I just think there's one extra thing. I'm standing here wondering whether the silence from the Labour benches is an indication that they actually agree with the amendment, because I know from personal conversations that a number of them do. And while you're thinking about it, you might want to think also about the appeal process, because at the moment, an appellant is only allowed to be represented and supported by their local councillor for the first stage of the appeal process. That seems like a mean-minded and illogical resolution of the system to us, and we would suggest that at the same time that you're thinking about restoring the level of support that is actually justified by the social circumstances and economic circumstances of some of the lower income families across the town, because they're the ones that are affected by this. The well-to-do ones are not. While you're thinking about that, you might like to think that perhaps where an appellant wishes it, they should be supported and represented by their elected councillors throughout the appeal process. That would be a much more generous attitude to take. I hope you will all vote for Councillor Bridgen's amendment.
Okay, so with that, I call upon Councillor Roach to reply.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. Firstly, the silence is because we're being polite and letting you speak because it's your amendment, so that's what silence is there for. This is a balanced budget. So I don't know why you're saying it's not. It is a balanced budget. And also, we've been to consultation. It's gone through consultation. Yes, there were teething problems. And there will still be inquiries from families in relation to concerns raised, that we all get those. But if they go and speak to the officers concerned, they will take that through with them. So we don't, and someone said about politicising. It sounds like it tonight. It sounds like you're politicising children, special education needs. I will tell my Labour colleagues to vote against this amendment. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
So, with that, the amendment is before the council. Does any member vote against the amendment?
Madam Mayor, under standing orders, I rise to ask my colleagues to rise themselves in order to ask you to take a recorded vote on this amendment.
Okay, that's more than 6 members, so that's fine. We'll move to a recorded vote. Okay.
Against.
Councillor Ahmed.
For.
Councillor Ajizola.
Against.
Councillor Amjid Ali. Councillor Umi Ali.
Against.
Councillor Baker. Councillor Yaron Began.
Against.
Councillor Bridgen. For. Councillor Burnett.
Against.
Councillor Chowdhury.
Against.
Councillor Farouk.
Against.
Councillor Franks.
For.
Councillor M. Fry.
For.
Councillor Hanif.
Against.
Councillor Javeria Hussain.
Against.
Councillor Javid Hussain.
Against.
Councillor Mahmood Hussain.
Against.
Councillor Samiria Hussain.
Against.
Councillor Isles.
Against.
Councillor Keane. Councillor Alia Khan.
Against.
Councillor Aslam Khan.
For.
Councillor Latif.
For.
Councillor Lovell. Councillor Mahmood.
Against.
Councillor Anwar Malik.
For.
Councillor Katicha Madnik.
Against.
Councillor Rahana Malik.
Against.
Councillor Marshall. Councillor Mead.
For.
Councillor Miller. For. Councillor Moore.
For.
Councillor Nazir.
Against.
Councillor Nichols.
Against.
Councillor Raja.
Against.
Councillor Roach.
Against.
Councillor Salim.
Against.
Councillor Simmons.
Against.
Councillor Steer.
Against.
Councillor Stevens.
For.
Councillor Dave Taylor.
Against.
Councillor James Taylor.
Against.
Councillor Underwood.
For.
The amendment is lost. Are there any further amendments? No. Okay. Right, we're back to the normal routine. Okay. Do we have any member who wishes to speak to the motion? And this is back to the full budget. Yes. That's too many people. Right. We'll start with Councillor Amjad Ali.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As with every year, we go through this budget and we hear Labour misrepresenting what the past was. So I just want to put something straight. You're hiding behind years of austerity, and yet you don't mention the fact that austerity actually started with Labour itself. You keep on saying about, oh, we've lost over £100 million of the capital budget. However, what is not taken into account is the amount of grants that have been received over this period. And one completely utter lie that has been said in this chamber today is that the Liberal Democrats were the ones that introduced the two-child cap. Just to rephrase, refresh your memory, the two-child benefit cap was introduced in 2017 when there was only one party in power, which was the Tories. So therefore, I think we are holding an apology from whoever said this, because this is outright a lie. The
two-child benefit cap. Going back to the budget, where in recommendation 1, item 13, we're told that the budget will be balanced if £10.95 million worth of savings are found within the year. This happened last year as well, but those savings were not realized. So how confident can we be that this Labour administration is going to stick to these savings again this year round? No, it's a comment. I don't need you to answer that. It's a comment. A comment is a comment. You don't have to answer the question.
Okay, that's fine. We're moving on. Okay. Right. Okay. So I've got Councillor James Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Budgets are about choices. And for many years, we've had to face negative choices here in this chamber because of a choice made in Westminster. A choice to pile the burden of the financial crash onto the shoulders of the workers of the country by targeting local government spending in the most deprived areas. So on this side of the chamber, we've taken the tough decisions to protect the most vulnerable from the worst of a failed ideology, but at the same time, we didn't fall into despair. We took the decision to invest in our town and our future. Our prudence and ambition has meant that we have weathered the worst of the Tory storm whilst placing ourselves in the prime position to reap the rewards of the opportunities to come. And now with a Labour government in Westminster, we're seeing the importance of different choices and the impact they can have. Thanks to a Labour government recognising deprivation as a key driver for need, and we have now been funded fairly, we can start to make the positive choices that will help us to deliver the future that we all want to see. First among them is the choice in this very budget to invest into delivering cleaner streets. This Labour Council will be investing an additional £2 million into street cleaning annually, taking it up to £5 million, or a 66% increase. This will help us to deliver an enhanced programme of deep cleaning, up to 100 per year, increasing resources into our village-based approach to cleaning, which has already been a success, as we heard from Councillor Stevens opposite, and rolling that out across the wards, and bolstering our enforcement teams to tackle the scourge of fly tipping and improving the maintenance of our green spaces. Through our choices, we can look forward to celebrating 150 years of borough status with an expanded programme of town centre events, such as Market Hill Live and Beats and Bites returning this summer, as well as events in each and every ward and an improved Christmas lighting offer. And who can forget, we're also celebrating 50 years of Carnival this year, back home in its original home of Wardown Park. By taking the choice to work collaboratively with our partners and to push for improvements to our town centre and push for improvements through our town centre task force, we've seen increased police patrols, seizures of many illegal e-scooters and e-bikes, and the start of the wholesale transformation of our town centre with the launch of the town centre delivery plan and work progressing on the stage, Power Court, and making Luton Station accessible. But we're not stopping there. We are continuing to lobby for the full redevelopment of Luton Station to match the level of ambition and investment going in and around it. And this government has shown that they are prepared to listen to Luton instead of ignoring us like previous governments. By making choices during the years of Tory imposed cuts to focus on growth and skills, we are now prepared to become a central driver of economic growth in the region and the country. Expansion of Luton Airport is set to be a major economic driver, ready to serve the universal development down the road, and the new £400 million investment by Goodman into the Vauxhall site also. For the first time in 16 years, the choices made in Westminster are beneficial to Luton, thanks to a Labour government that delivers for working people in towns like ours. And thanks to the difficult choices made on this side of the chamber, we can now choose to boost economic growth, invest in our town, and deliver the public services our people deserve. So I urge all members to vote for this budget. Thank you.
Thank you. I've got Councillor Azam Khan.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Tonight we've had a lot of fantasy speeches and a lot of misrepresentation. And all I hear, and I'm sick and tired of this, is never your fault and if it's everyone else's. And forever with a begging mindset instead of a growth mindset. That's the language that I hear. Let's put the record straight a little bit. The fair funding that you're talking about of £130 million, in actual terms, is only £75 million new money, and that will be spread over 3 years. And that's according to your Section 105 officer, Rob, not you. And you talk about Conservative government not delivering, forgetting that it was a bankrupt country under Gordon Brown that we inherited and gave you back one of the fastest growing economies in G7. And when we look at, you hear me now, I sat down, listened to you, have the guts and the courage to listen the facts, right? And when we look at money that has come your way from the Conservative government to enable this town to flourish so it doesn't have to beg and borrow. £78 million for guided bus. £19 million BSIP for buses. £16 million for inner ring road. £20 million for levelling up funding. £49 million rescue package for your airport. You had some of the most generous support that another town of this size could possibly ask. It's the choices that you have made. You have failed to deliver to the residents of Luton. Luton remains one of the poorest towns in the country, some of the highest unemployment in the country, some of the worst housing crisis in the country, nighttime economy non-existent. If any other administration had this town with this logistics, with that level of support, it would be one of the richest towns in the country. You talk about Labour, since, well, you haven't been out on the street. Seems like you've spent too much time in this town. Here, Labour have broken their promises, U-turn after U-turn, resignations after resignations, robbing the pensioners, killing the economy, killing the businesses, crippling our farmers, and people are closing shop and leaving this country. What world and what country do you live in? Wake up and make the right choices. Enable and empower people and get that Luton pound spent in Luton so people can flourish and they can live a good quality of life.
We've got Councillor Bassett Mahmood.
Thank you. I heard a lot of bluster there. The interesting thing is, Madam Mayor, 14 years of austerity, started by the Liberal Democrat Tory coalition, doesn't just magically resolve itself. No, it wasn't. It was investment in children's services, and they keep disrupting me. Please, I listened to you very, don't get your blood pressures up. I was listening to you very carefully. 14 years of Tory-enabled austerity by the Liberal Democrats gutted towns like ours, and to think that it's magically going to solve itself after 1 year. I heard from the Conservative benches about fastest growing economy in the G7. The UK was the fastest growing economy in the G7 in the first half of 2025. Don't worry, it's not Section 151 officer said that. It's the ONS and the Bank of England that showed that we are the fastest growing economy in the G7 in the first half of 2025. Under this Labour government, you talk about missed targets. The Conservatives promised 1 million homes. Where did those go? Zero starter homes were delivered by the Conservative government. And to talk about poverty in Luton. Yeah, the brass neck, the Conservatives were the ones that pushed thousands of children in this town, enabled by the Liberal Democrats, into poverty as a result of austerity. So then claim that you care about poverty is one for the birds. And £170 million has been taken out of our budget, which decimated services. That was a choice. It was not a political necessity. No economy, no monetary expert, no central bank acknowledges that austerity takes people out of poverty, and nor does it return economic growth. That was a political choice that you made to enact public spending cuts. And behind those numbers are entire communities up and down the country that have been ruined. Residents that couldn't access services, children pushed into poverty because of your decisions. So we won't be lectured to on poverty by you. And I'm delighted to see the additional investment come into our town as a result of the fairer funding formula. Millions of pounds for services. Under this Labour Council, we have no families in bed and breakfast, which is no small task. Work is underway to make our Luton station accessible, and thousands of children in this town will be lifted out of poverty as a result of the actions taken by this Labour government, such as scrapping the two-child cap, extending free breakfast clubs and early intervention programmes. And as portfolio holder for adult care, I'm delighted to see a result of additional funding and the deficit recovery that our budget deficit has gone down from £8 million to a more manageable level. Unlike the Liberal Democrats and the Tories that cut funding to towns like Luton, which bore the brunt of austerity, I'm delighted to see much needed additional investment in our town. Thanks to a Labour government. So I encourage all my colleagues to support this budget.
Right, thank you. So I've got Councillor Steve Stevens.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's interesting to hear the last speaker talking about taking children out of poverty. This government is presiding over massive debt on our students at the university and our students nationally. The amount of interest that students are now having to pay is more than the amount of loan that they've taken out. So be very careful when you're talking about young people being taken out of poverty. One thing that I've noticed about this budget, it shows that the Labour Party, this group opposite, is not really keen about protecting the environment. You sit there, the portfolio holder said he was proud of the money that's gone into cleansing. Well, if you were so proud of what's gone into the cleansing, why is it that so many of the people in the members' own discussions with the residents in the Point, with the residents in Berry Park, said one of their key issues was the litter and the state of Luton? I can actually say that my postal bag, my emails are full of complaints, even though the cleansing department try to do a sterling job. And let me come to the matter of climate change. And I will remind to the chair of the Climate Management Board that we have a problem with climate change. We are actually subject to massive rain in the winter time over the last few years, which is acknowledged is going to continue. Yet, I noticed that there's been a massive deduction in the flood management scheme. I think about £92 million. So how is that going to help the flooding that takes place in places like Osborne Road and other parts of the Luton? I should very happily go back to the residents and say to the residents of Osborne Road, don't worry about your flooding. It's going to carry on because this group opposite do not have any care about your problems that you're facing. So really, you need to think about what you're doing and the budget you're putting forward. I find nothing in this budget that is here to help the businesses at night time, businesses in general, growing. There's nothing there, yet we were promised that. I understand that Dev talked about the fact that we could actually give some grants, maybe some business rate reductions. I see nothing in this budget that's going to help our businesses and new businesses that want to start up new schemes, want to expand. Nothing in this budget. Maybe it's hidden somewhere, but perhaps somebody would tell me where it is to be found in this budget. So be very careful about what you say when you talk about growth. Be very careful when you're talking about young people and poverty, and be very careful when you talk about the environment, because you're not showing positive signs of that in your budget. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
I've got Councillor Ghulam Abbas.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like to start by thanking our portfolio holder for finance, the Section 151 officer, the council staff, who have worked very hard and diligently to produce a balanced budget. Before I go on, I mean, what a load of tosh we're hearing from across the chamber. It's all about talking Luton down. It's all about what hasn't happened, instead of talking about the positives. This budget is more than a financial plan. It marks a turning point for our town. After years of austerity, which they keep denying, and structural underfunding, we now have the opportunity to move from managing decline to investing in renewal. Thanks to the Labour government, with its fair funding formula worth £139 million over the next 4 years, we can begin to repair the damage that's been done to this town, and we can restore hope and optimism for the people of Luton. Take housing, where the pressure has been the most visible. Homelessness and temporary accommodation costs were rising year on year, placing enormous strain on council finances and on families. Last year, that pressure stood at £4 million. Today, we're forecasting to be on budget. For the first time in many years, we have no families in bed and breakfast accommodation. I'll repeat that, no families in bed and breakfast accommodation. Temporary accommodation numbers are the lowest since 2016. That is not just good financial management. That is delivery. That is stability for families, and it's better outcomes for children. That's this Labour administration delivering, regardless of what you across the chamber are saying. At the same time, we are delivering 500 new homes over the next 2 years, and we've already secured equivalent of 133 three-bedroom homes to support families in homelessness. And over the coming year, the municipal year, new council homes will be delivered at Strangers Way, at Taylor Street and Freeman's Green, and construction is underway at the former Parrot site and at Wandon Park in Wigmore. And yes, we will be building homes at Wandon Park, despite the NIMBYism shown by some of our opposition members across the chamber. And we're talking about the council. The council can't build its way out of this situation on housing. We are going to have to work with the private sector. Just so that you're aware, we have given planning permission to 6,500 homes to private developers across the town. They're sitting on those developments and not building. So one of the things we are doing, we are going out and talking to those developers. We're starting a program of engaging with them positively to see what we can do to get them moving and get them building. And you have to understand, in the backdrop of what we've got, construction costs have risen by 25% over the last 5 years due to mismanagement of the Tories in terms of the construction industry. That is how we're going to be tackling the housing crisis in Luton: increasing supply, reducing reliance on emergency accommodation, and investing in long-term solutions. But rebuilding Luton goes beyond housing, and we are investing, as we've said, over £100 million into the town centre regeneration. The mixed development called The Stage. We're also doing public realm improvements. That means increased footfall, more opportunity and renewed confidence in our town centre. And in Lucy Park, we are delivering something truly transformative. A 2.6 million ECB state-of-the-art indoor cricket dome. Is it a Conservative project? It's funding from the ECB and funding for the ECB. I would appreciate if you wouldn't interrupt me.
Sorry.
Okay, ECB funding, along with the government funding, for a state-of-the-art indoor cricket dome. There are currently only 2 in the entire country, and this autumn, Luton will become the proud home of the third one. This is about grassroots participation, youth opportunity, creating a pathway for local talent. It places Luton firmly on the national cricketing map and represents a serious investment in our community infrastructure. Just imagine, one day, young people from Luton could be stepping out onto the world stage, representing England in the men's and women's national cricket teams. What an extraordinary boost that would be for our town and for every young person that dreams big. We are also making one of the most important investments in our town, that is over 33 million for 2 brand new SEND schools, one in Lucy, one in Saints. These schools are a commitment to our children.
Councillor Abbas,
an
there is a
investment
time
in
limit and you're out of time.
Huh?
There's a time limit and you're out of time.
Can I just finish quickly? I thoroughly support this budget and urge every member to support this budget and approve it.
Thank you. Councillor Franks.
There are a number of puzzling things about the budget that's presented to us this evening. It just seems to me that it should have been the easiest budget that you've had to produce for a very long time. Just look at the figures in Annex 1, your so-called background document. The government's assessment of your core spending power has gone up from last year's £243 million to £284, an increase in just 1 year of £41 million. Your income from business rates is going to rise by £52 million from last year. So why are you making your budget more difficult than it needs to be? Well, there are a number of reasons, actually. The first to note is the hopeless financial monitoring that goes on in this council. The April to September spending monitoring wasn't reported until January 2026. So in the Q2 financial monitoring was actually reported after the end of quarter 3. Why? Making life more difficult than it needs to be. Referring to the budget savings for the current financial year, the report to Finance Review Group scrutiny says, of the 10.7 million planned savings, 8.7 is currently forecast to be successfully delivered, demonstrating encouraging progress. What, £2 million short in your savings programme is encouraging progress? That's not why I'd describe it as. The budget presented this evening is telling us that you're going to save £10.9 million in 2026-27. You've got no right to be surprised that nobody believes you when you don't actually achieve the savings that you've forecast for the current year or indeed the year before that. And yet, in spite of all this, 93 million pound increase in income, although you claim to care about the town's parks and green spaces, you're chopping £11,000 out of your ground maintenance budget. Anybody like a copy of my list of the parks and green open spaces you already concreted over? Anybody want a copy of that list? Just let me know. It's a long list, but I'm quite happy to let you have a copy. Line 46 on page 13 of that document tells us £23,000 is being taken from your street cleaning budget. My constituents won't be impressed with that. What with the huge amounts of student litter they have to clear up themselves from the 2 further education colleges that we have in Barnfield Ward. And then when in huge areas of England, people are being flooded out of their homes. Line 75 on page 14 tells us you're taking £91,000 out of your flood defence programme. And now, this evening, we find out the most unbelievable fact of all, that Luton is probably the last and only local authority in the country that's still using ancient wet film cameras in its safety cameras. Oh, come on. Everywhere else has been digital for years and years and years. Now this bit actually is hard to believe, because you are actually telling us you intend to invest £22.7 million in your loss-making, failing development company, Foxhall Homes Limited. £22.7 million investment. That really takes some believing. Voting for this budget is voting for continued mismanagement and continued failure to actually monitor the spend as you're going along.
You're out of time, sir.
It's all too hard to understand why you expect us to vote for it. I certainly won't be.
So, Councillor Umiali.
Well, thank you, Madam Mayor, and of course I also want to start with thanking the portfolio holder, our Section 151 officer, and the whole corporate leadership team and executive for working on this budget together as a whole council. It's been really interesting hearing everyone today, hearing the ex-deputy leader talk about how we failed when he was part of decision-making from much of a part of it, and hearing the Lib Dems. I think this is my 5th budget council now, come with lots of comments but no alternative budget, as we say year on year, that they never provide. Interesting comments on student loans when it was the Tory Lib Dem coalition that introduced them. I actually have about £80,000 worth of debt that is there because of the Tory Lib Dem coalition and the change to the Plan 2 loans. If you don't mind, I'd like to say what I need to say. And actually wanted to say the budget does include investment into the nighttime economy, and Councillor Taylor did explain that. And in fact, street cleansing and things like gully cleaning, which is really important, we have put an extra £2 million investment, 66% into that. But actually what I really wanted to talk about was what really matters to me here, alongside all the other things that will help our residents across Luton and my residents in Hightown, was how it's going to affect children and families in Luton. Since 2010, austerity has hit children and families in areas like Luton the hardest. Cuts have disproportionately impacted the most deprived areas, where spending per child has fallen by more than 50%, compared to less than 30% in the least deprived areas. That widening inequality wasn't inevitable. It was the result of political choices by the previous Tory government. These political choices directly impacted children and families in Luton. We had no choice but to prioritise the highest risk statutory services. Demand in children's social care rose sharply, placement costs escalated, complexity increased, and rightly, protecting the most vulnerable children had to come first. When a significant share of the budget is directed towards crisis response and high-cost residential placements, it limits the ability to invest in wider services to support a positive childhood. Children and families in Luton need to have things like safe and accessible parks, accessible local services, and access to early help. All of these things contribute to effective prevention and better long-term outcomes for children. What is fundamentally different now is that we are seeing this Labour government recognise that early help, prevention, and building strong communities are not optional extras but the foundation of a sustainable system. And we have already seen the impact that this can have for children and families in Luton. In 2024, Luton was selected as the Family's First Pathfinder Authority. That investment allowed us to embed social care reforms early, strengthening family help, intervening sooner, and reducing escalation. Through this, we are already seeing reductions in children coming into care on child protection plans, and we are hearing positive feedback from families every day. It is clear that without early help, without prevention, without investment into these things, councils find themselves in expensive reactive cycles. Residential placements, like we've spoken about earlier, can cost hundreds of thousands of pounds per child per year. So investing in prevention is financially responsible. Under this Labour government, the Fairer Funding Settlement has brought stability and scale to Luton. For the first time in years, we have a 3-year settlement, and this financial certainty allows us to plan budgets strategically rather than firefight annually. Children's social care in Luton has seen an increase to its base budget of over £9 million, including £6 million growth to stabilise placement cost pressures, and £3.32 million through the Family's First Partnership Grant, building on the Family's First Pathfinder funding that I just spoke about. For 2026 to 2027, the total growth represents a 22% increase compared to the 2024 to 2025 net budget, the highest growth the service has received in several years. But to be clear, this increase simply brings our base budget in line with the unavoidable costs that we have been facing over a decade of austerity, first brought to us by the Tory Lib Dem coalition. It corrects the gap between historic allocations and the real cost of protecting vulnerable children. The Labour government's fairer funding formula will begin to address this inequality after 14 years of austerity, and towns of the highest need, like Luton, like our town, will finally see funding that reflects reality. And measures such as removing the 2-child benefit cap, expanding access to free school meals, expanding free childcare for working parents, investing in kinship and foster care, and strengthening the stability of our social care workforce all contribute to reducing these pressures on families and improving outcomes for children. For our town, this budget is an opportunity to build a council, community and system that supports families earlier, protects children better, and delivers the stability that our communities deserve. We all love this town and we love the people in this town, and we should want the absolute best for our children and our residents and our families.
Councillor Adam,
so I hope, I'm finishing. I hope that all members in the chambers will vote for this tonight, because by investing in our children now, we can take an extra step towards achieving Luton 2040, a healthy, fair, sustainable town where everyone can thrive and no one lives in poverty. Thank you.
Before we continue, just a reminder that you can speak for up to 5 minutes maximum. Right, so I'm going to go to Councillor Chaviri Hussain. You did have your hand up, didn't you? Yeah. I've got a long list, sorry.
Wow. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor, and I'll try and stick to my allocated 5 minutes. This budget basically reflects our council's commitment, our Labour Council's commitment to inclusion, early intervention and fairness for all of our schools. The fair funding formula and settlement thanks to our Labour government, will ensure that our council is able to prioritise high needs where we have the biggest budget pressures. So today, the Labour government announced 4.4 billion in investment to reform SEND and 3.7 billion capital investment to create 60,000 new specialist placements aimed at bolstering support in mainstream schools and communities. And we really look forward to receiving further details of the allocation funding. Our Labour Council's strategic expansion by investing over 33 million in 2 new SEND schools will ensure that we are giving children the education that they need. For the first time in our budget this year, for the first time in our budget, we have increased support to disabled children from 6.5 million to 12.7 million. Because of our Labour Council's commitment to education, primary schools perform above the national average at Key Stage 2. Because of our Labour Council's commitment to education, 23 schools received national recognition from the Secretary of State in relation to performance of disadvantaged pupils at Key Stage 2 and GCSEs in 2025. Luton Secondary Schools results are still strong, and all Luton schools perform well in Ofsted inspections. Thanks to our Labour government's commitment to investing in education, the total gross DSG for 2026-2027 is 3.5.28 million. That's a year-on-year increase of 14.468 million before deductions, and after deductions, it's actually an increase of 10.27 million. Now, with regards to the SEND transport, a briefing went out to all councillors on the 5th of March, which basically clarified the appeals process. There is no savings. In fact, we are reinvesting all the money back into improving services. And the primary focus of that is to provide young people with the independence that they need. And the 1.1 million is increased investment. There is no changes in the appeals process as far as I'm aware, but we can check that and get back to you on that. Moving swiftly, creating jobs and increasing productivity is a key pillar of our Labour government's national core mission of economic growth. Through investing in employment and skills to achieve our Labour Council's commitment to helping residents get into work, upskill, reskill and move through key investments. Because of our Labour government, we've secured 4.4 million from DWP for Connect to Work programme, helping over 1,200 of the most vulnerable in our society to work over the next 5 years. Our Labour Council is invested in a new jobs and skills website that will be launching shortly, a single online platform containing live vacancies, apprenticeships, training opportunities and information for employers, connecting job opportunities directly to Luton residents, and that's something we can all agree on our residents directly ask for. Our Labour government has enabled us as a Labour Council to deliver a number of skills programmes across the town in partnership with organisations including a new apprenticeship programme with the University of Bedfordshire to support new businesses to employ and support a new apprenticeship schemes, and also a new programme with the Chewy Care Foundation that will deliver a pilot support for our young people who are not in education, training or employment to complete customer service level 2 apprenticeships. Our Labour Council has also just launched a new programme with TRACK focusing on apprenticeship roles, particularly for care leavers within the construction sector, connecting our young people to £5 billion worth of investment planned in our town. Our Labour Council will continue to invest in our bi-monthly community jobs fairs, supporting residents in training and employment, which last year attracted 4,000 attendees. Apprenticeships make an extraordinary contribution to our town. In 2024 to 2025 academic year, over 2,500 residents were undertaking apprenticeships. Of these, 620 completed and achieved an apprenticeship, while 1,240 began apprenticeships journey. And we hosted our second apprenticeship awards 2 weeks ago. Our Labour Council, because of our Labour government, is working with employers and educators to increase the number of apprenticeship opportunities available. And finally, thanks to our Labour government, we've secured opportunities for residents, particularly our young people and their future generations, through our Labour Council's ownership of our community airport and our investment in our airport sustainable long-term investment, which will ensure that we generate new jobs and an additional £1 billion for our economy. However, in Luton, we still have a journey ahead. The government has set a national ambition target for us to reach 80% employment rate. However, we are currently trailing at 66%. That means that we need to support roughly 19,150 more residents into work. But I want to be absolutely clear here tonight. The programmes that I've outlined, because of our Labour government's investment and because of our Luton Council's focus, jobs remains our top priorities, along with homes and safety. This means the future is looking much brighter for our town. We are investing in skills and our residents need. We are working closely with employers, and we are putting the basic foundations that give people real opportunities to thrive. So while the challenge is a big one, our determination is bigger. the finance portfolio holder and my Labour colleagues here will agree with me that this budget's direction that we're taking now will ensure that we meet our residents to have access to good jobs, secure homes, safer communities in the year ahead. And for those reasons, I fully support this budget.
Right, thank you very much. Sorry, I've still got 5 more speakers, but before we do that, we're going to take a quick 5-minute break. If that's okay. I just know some members need to... With people fasting all day, I think some members need to... there we go. Have a glass of water. So could you please be back in 5 minutes exactly, 16 minutes past? Can members start returning to their seats, please? Can members start returning to their seats, please? I've got 5 on my list. Right. Yes, it's still going, Terry. Okay, I think we've got a couple more members to filter
Madam
back
Mayor,
in,
can we reduce
but
the time to 2 minutes from 5 minutes?
sorry,
Can we reduce the time to about 2 minutes from 5 minutes? Otherwise
people
it'll be
have
8 in the
5
night.
minutes maximum to speak. That's the standing orders. You know,
Sure,
if
we can make
people
it
could keep their comments succinct, but 5 minutes is standing orders. Okay. While the last couple of people filter in, we're going to start again, and I've got Councillor Babatunde Ajisela.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor, and of course for that wonderful break and during this wonderful presentation, which has witnessed so much words across the hall. And of course, you know, my local parlance, you say when a river forgets its source, it dries. We won't forget the very much historic financial pressures that the party across the House has put our council and all others across the country during the coalition government, the austerity measures they've introduced. And it's shocking that they're not seeing the positive sides of this budget. And it clearly shows. Just a few minutes into when the portfolio holder was presenting, you could see one of the leading members of the opposition bursting into laughing when a notable achievement was mentioned. What was termed as what wasn't significant possible. It seemed unthinkable only a few years ago that temporary accommodation would be would be zero, only for him to start laughing. What's that for? It shows where the care lie, but to us, it's a positive thing, and I'm so proud of the team, the Section 1 officers, the portfolio holders, and the team responsible for this budget. And I've mentioned earlier, and my colleagues have mentioned, the overspend last budget was just over £4 million. And this year, it's been forecasted in this budget before us, it's going to be £0. That is a positive step in a positive direction. Also, similarly, the reduction in adult social care, as mentioned by the portfolio holder as well, just last year was about £9 million. In this budget, it's going to be about £1.9 million. This clearly demonstrates progress, strong oversight, and improved financial discipline. Ultimately, this budget is not about numbers on the page. It's about stability. It's about opportunity for the people that we serve. I am proud of what this Labour Council has achieved thus far and what we continue to work towards with our shared vision at the heart of the strategy. This is a responsible, forward-looking budget, and I'm proud to give it my full support, and I encourage every member of this council to give it our full support. Thank you.
Thank you. Right, I've got Councillor Bridgen.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So, yeah, quite a lively debate this evening. I'd just like to maybe respond to a few points and again put point of view forward, because I have to say I do find it somewhat sometimes galling sitting here listening to certainly a Labour member who was in the Conservative Party and a Conservative candidate in 2015 lecturing me about coalition austerity. It's a bit galling. National funding pressures are real, but austerity didn't write this policy. This Labour administration did, and even in tight times, you still have choices about where you cut and who carries the risk. Nationally, Labour have been in government since July 2024, so we're well past the point where everything can be blamed on history. And honestly, I think there are some people here who, if they could, would blame stuff on Henry Herbert Asquith. There was comment of land banking, and this is a huge problem. It needs to be legislated against. There needs to be some form of reform. And Labour are in a position to do this. I have challenged Rachel Hopkins MP on this, on the government's position and Labour's position, and on her Facebook page, and I've received no response. So if you're able to, within the Labour group, please do lobby Rachel about this, because it does need to be legislated against. We also had the same old chestnut of a Labour councillor saying that we've not presented an alternative budget. But this isn't a separate statutory document for opposition groups to publish. The law expects the executive to table proposals and the council to amend and approve them. And we did put an alternative forward. We put it forward in black and white as an amendment, and it was voted down. Tonight, a decision was made by this Labour council to balance the budget on the back of SEND families, and I cannot support it. And finally, I'd just like to seek a correction of the record in relation to the two-child benefit cap. This wasn't introduced by the coalition government, as a member opposite mentioned. It was the Conservative government, and I'd like to welcome the member who mentioned that to issue an appropriate response. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. I've got Councillor Anwar Malik.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First of all, I would like to thank Trader for answering the question. But reassurance is not the same as stability. Yes, councils across the UK facing the same pressure. Yes, social care demand is rising. Yes, government funding is imperfect. But those national challenges do not explain 34 million increase in net expenditure in 1 year. They do not explain why 37.3 million is now being spent on capital financing charges. Money that doesn't fund a single frontline service. They do not explain why this budget relies on 47 million in investment income, exposing residents to a market volatility. And they do not explain why residents must pay £2,438 for a Band D property, an increase of 118 during ongoing financial hardship. We told this is prudent, but prudence would mean reducing structural dependency on volatile income, demonstrating measurable reforms in the 118.4 million population well-being budget, showing transformation within the 88.7 million children's service budget, and setting out a clear 3-year path to financial stability. Instead, we presented with a budget that balanced, but balanced on optimistic assumptions. The question is not whether this budget can pass tonight. The question is whether it protects Luton's residents from greater financial shock tomorrow. Until we see credible structural reforms, not simply higher taxation and hopeful forecast, we remain unconvinced. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Right, I've got Councillor Maria Lovell.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd add my voice to my colleagues to thank our portfolio holder and our finance team for the sterling work that's been done in once more setting out a balanced budget and for investing in our town's vital services after 14 years of austerity, and I'll repeat it, I know you're not happy to hear it this evening, of austerity enabled by the Liberal Democrats, which harmed vulnerable residents. An area which this additional funding will most certainly help is my own portfolio of community services, particularly when it comes to protecting vulnerable women and girls. Domestic violence against women and girls is a top priority in Luton, and we're encouraged by the government's commitment, a commitment which we share passionately in Luton, to halve violence against women and girls over the next decade. The allocation of over $1 billion for victims of domestic abuse is a significant step forward, enabling them to access support and rebuild their lives. Nearly $500 million will provide better protection for victims, with an extra $19 million invested in safe accommodation, expanding domestic abuse support. This builds on the $480 million already confirmed in local government budgets and $550 million across justice over the next 3 years for counselling, court guidance and children's services. This funding is expected to support an extra 4,900 households, helping nearly 140,000 people, including women and their children, over the next 3 years. In 2024-25, similar funding helped almost 77,000 survivors and children access safe accommodation and support. In Luton, we're committed to tackling domestic abuse and welcome this much-needed financial boost. It will help us to deliver our 5-year domestic abuse strategic plan, aligning with our Luton 2040 vision to create a healthy, fair town with reduced domestic abuse and violence against women and girls. We're grateful for the government's financial commitment, which is crucial to the successful delivery of our strategy in Luton, which I'm sure you will all agree. This additional funding provided by a Labour government to a Labour council in Luton will undoubtedly help in the fight against domestic violence and abuse. I fully support this budget and ask members of this chamber to support it, the wise thing to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Javadisi.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I will keep it very short and very simple. It is this budget that's allowed us to invest in our highways. So I look at the bench over there. We've got the first Cyclops. There is no other Cyclops in Bedfordshire. Cyclops for improved cycling. We talk about local cycling working improvement plan. We're actually delivering it. That's the first phase. Obviously, you won't feel the full effects of it. We put more money into LC Whip. That's in the budget. We put more money into Chorlend to tackle the congestion. Mr. Amjad over there will know how much of a problem it is, because it's the main arterial route. It's a success. It is a commitment from you say we're slowing the business. That's not what our retail parks are showing. As a chair of the local plan, I can tell you the amount of people who come to us saying, have you got any warehousing? Have you got any small retail industrial units? We are open for business, and regularly people say we want to come and we want to develop. And that's testament to us working with local and private sectors to deliver, because at council, we're a council, we can't deliver everything. We have to work with strategic partners. We're a council that invests, we pay into the EEH, that puts us on the match. England's economic heartlands gives us, unlocks us to bigger strategic projects that we alone as a council wouldn't do it. We pay into the Public Transport Committee. That again, Public Transport Committee allows us to make sure that Luton is at the forefront of what's going on, because let's face it, Luton people need to travel to Hitchin, they need to travel to Dunstable, they need to travel, because we know that transport is an enabler to economic growth. And I haven't heard anybody even talk about economic growth, jobs. You've just I've heard a lot of fluster, and I'm not going to go on about the 14 years because I'm not interested. I'm interested in what we're doing today to make sure, with our Labour government, to make sure that we deliver the much. So I look forward to our government giving us the powers to parking payment. I think every single person in here gets complaints. Wherever I go, parking comes up. We're on target to actually deliver 100,000, and I don't know whether I should be happy or sad about that because it shows you how much abuse of parking there. We've just done the Red Route on Lucy Road. We've seen the massive improvement, the amount of good feedback we've had from people who come to our borough, to hospital. Remember, Luton Bedfordshire serves 440,000, and they tell us it's much, much better, the environment, ambience. We've introduced cameras, average cameras on Limbury Road last year, and this year, thanks to my colleagues and the government for giving us the money, we're going to be introducing average cameras from one end of Leaguer Road all the way to the Marsh Road Junction. We know how important, and we know people don't like speed humps. We know what issue we get. But again, we're in the process of doing the LTP5, and I will thank my colleagues who did a good job. Let's hope we can move beyond politics and make sure that we deliver for our residents. There's 4 schemes. I haven't heard any you mentioned, but the Partridge Road scheme, that's in a Liberal Demo ward. We were doing that. We're doing some additional safety scheme for that. So I don't politise safety. Road safety is totally non-political. We're looking for TESs. We're looking to do CPZs, and I look at my colleague over there. We spent 2 years arguing whether we should have it or not. Now we're arguing when can we have more? When can we have it extended? So I look forward to later on having that discussion. We're bringing forward a policy about, we know how people like to use bins and cones for reserving a parking space. We'll be bringing a policy, we'll be having a zero tolerance on that. That sort of behaviour cannot carry on. Potholes. The amount of people who contact me and say, Lower Luton Road, can you fix Lower Luton Road? Can we do A505? Can we do Streatley? No, unfortunately, I wish we could, but we can't. We are here. And the Labour government's investment has helped us. People look at Luton and they say to me, your roads, I'm sure you've got relatives and friends who come here and they'll tell you that just look across the border, Luton, look at, Dunstable, look at Caddington, look at St Albans. They can't even afford to switch their lights on at night. They have to dim them, at certain times. It just shows you that this council is investing them. And I think somebody asked about the investment model. Hold on, 1/3 of our income is commercial. If it wasn't for that commercial, our income, our council tax wouldn't be 2,400. It'd be probably a lot higher than that. It'd be probably at least 300-400 higher. So we should be lucky. And we've carried on maintaining investment in our airport. I hear a lot of comments about, we've got £700 million loans. But hold on, the airport's worth at least 3 times that. So that's prudent investment for the future for the next generation. It will create jobs. It will create prosperity. And with that, those jobs are going to be more and more important as we see.
Councillor Hussain, you're out of time.
Right, okay, I'll wrap up. And also, we were able to invest in Exicom. Well, I think that shows the level of degree of stuff that's going on. Thank you.
Right. Councillor Bennett.
Evening all. I just wanted to say that there's a saying, a good captain would never create their craft in a calm sea. And we, the Labour administration, have been steering this town through storm that has nearly lasted 20 years. We've got people that were at school in this chamber that is now councillors that have no living memory of what boom looks like. None whatsoever. And we have to make, and what it comes to mind is that the question is, will the storm ever cease? We are living in historical memory times now from what we can see going on in our own country. And listening to people on the streets, they're saying what they feel has been attacked by the elite is the family. Because without the family, you cannot have a society. We have picked up broken families. Our colleagues holding different portfolios, That's where the growth is. If families were united and stable, they would not be knocking at our doors. And that is adult social care and children's services. So we need to remember the child and the family at the heart of what we've done. And I believe we have in this town. People that have moved from London, they go, wow, I didn't know you had so many events. There's always something going on. We fought for that. And I commend my colleagues and the portfolio holder and the officers. Even in the storm, we have kept the ship afloat. When we think about some of our neighbours not that far, 5 miles up the road, they're having to make severe challenges. And I'm getting comments from family, oh, our potholes ain't so bad. Down the road, it's this, it's that. The lower Luton Road is this and that. Somebody telling me how they lost a wheel on this we were not hearing some years ago. So we need to be mindful not to lose sight. And no matter what my colleague says across the road, the LGA has said we've lost 40p in the pound. My mum used to say, if you keep taking out the pot, you got a pot of gold, and you never put back the gold, the pot's going to run empty. The Labour government is trying to put money back after 14 years when people were taking it out. We can disagree. That is the joy of politics. But the LGA said we lost 40p in the pound. And I don't know where anybody thought Labour was going to come in and find that 40p in 1 year. And it took 14 years for the p. So we have come through COVID. We've come through a financial crash. And now we're still going through change, what is reported every day on the press. And it's going to affect us. Whatever the change in the new world order, it's going to affect us. And we're going to have to work through this together. So I thank my colleagues for what they've done. But we haven't got commissioners coming in that's going to issue. Maybe some of you not know that, but not too far down the road, they've got commissioners in now, and they don't know what the report is going to say. That is the reality for some, and elsewhere. Reform come in, the reality has been different for some local authorities. So I just wanted to say that, and thank you, Madam Mayor, for allowing me to speak. I was saying to some people, we've never had a long council meeting, never. And you have absolutely blown it. Thank you.
Right, hopefully that's all of the speakers, at which I can move to the seconder of the motion, which is Councillor
Thank
Simmons.
you, Madam Mayor. Congratulations, Rob, for presenting a forward-looking budget. It is not just a balanced budget, but a strategic budget that invests in the future of our town. It not only positions the council to respond to pressures, but actively shapes the future and is ambitious for Luton. Over the past 14 years of Tory austerity, we have seen the underfunding of deprived areas like Luton, and I am proud that this Labour government has put deprivation back at the heart of council funding. And this budget shows what a difference a Labour government can make to people's lives. This budget is about fairness, opportunity, and restoring pride where it's been lost. This Labour government has listened to councils and given those that experience the deepest cuts in funding the opportunity to bring their services back to our communities. Maybe not all at once, because as everybody has said, it's been a long haul. But bring services back eventually to our communities. Services like the 3 million that will see the refurbishment of our play parks, ensuring all are accessible and inclusive so all our children can use them. The 500k investment into sports infrastructure that will improve our pitches and provide facilities to support women's sport. Fair funding is about putting support where it is needed, matching local need so communities are not left behind. Under the Tories, we were starved of investment, with core spending power down by around a quarter since 2010. Labour councils like Luton took the brunt and sustained austerity here and managed to protect essential frontline services. We remained resilient, and this budget builds on the strong foundation of prudent financial management. Over £165 million was cut from our budget, and Councillor Khan, you were this side when that was happening, and you know what the Tory government did to this council and the desperation it was in the budget cuts that we had to make. How dare you make those comments here tonight? Shame on you for that, you turncoat. Well, the budget represents a progressive financial plan and actively shapes the future for our town by investing in economic regeneration, skills and jobs, and the services that ensure safety and security for the Luton community. Together with our Labour government, we are reversing Tory decline and investing in our local community for the future. I am very proud and happy to second this motion this evening, and I am sure all members will be happy to support the opportunities this budget provides for our local community.
Right, after that lively debate, Councillor Roach, would you like to respond?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm not going to be too long. First, who managed to get it all done within 5 minutes? Congratulations if you did. You know, congratulations. I'm just going to add a bit of reality, really, in all fairness. When you go back, and I know someone said about the Labour government in the financial, when the financial breakdown happened, but Gordon Brown was Prime Minister, and Gordon Brown would not have gone and done that austerity if he was still in power. The man was too compassionate to do that. He would not have gone down that pathway. That's the first thing. Really, the reality is, we're at the back of 170 million austerity since 2010, cuts to this government, this council. And then we had the close down of the airport, and we had to do an emergency budget. You know yourself, Councillor, you were there. Emergency budget to stabilise the airport. We're now in a position where we can invest going forward. We've come through that as a group. We've come through that. This Labour Council has come through that. We're now in a position where we're saying, look, this is positive stuff we're doing here. Real positive stuff we're doing. I just want to sort of say a bit, you're talking about council tax. If you guys are in administration and you don't think you can raise council tax, we'll have the commissioners in here very, very quickly. Honestly, we will. If you look at our growth every year, remember I said to you, we made this progress in adult social care, children's services, and we made in temporary accommodation, homelessness. Demand is still the same. The costs are still there, but we're dealing with it. And if you decide not to put up council tax, wow, you've got a problem. You have a problem because you lose what they call your core spending power. It goes down. You're talking about 7 million, goes down. And that 7 million actually covers inflation, it covers pension, it covers costs, it covers pay rises. That's what it covers. Without that, we can't deliver the services, so we're going to have to make cuts elsewhere. So get serious. If you want to be in administration, you've got to decide what you're going to deliver to the residents from a financial point of view. Because what I've seen tonight, you're not able to do it. You just threw figures at me. You lost me after 2 seconds. You just lost me. You know, the reality, you've got to hit the reality, and that is the reality. Okay, the reality is what we've been through, where we are now, the investments, and if anybody here wants to vote against this budget, you just heard tonight everything you're voting against. You've all got parks in your ward. Every single one of you got parks in your ward. You're going to vote against that? Let's see, okay? And you've also seen tonight, which I'm really proud to say, a very competent executive coming up, telling you what they're doing in their portfolios. We supply the finance, they deliver on the outcomes. So I'm very proud to say we've got a very competent executive that I work with here tonight. The Labour group, we must agree to this Labour budget, okay? We need to push you through. If you vote against it, okay, just think about what you're voting against in your own wards. Just think about it, okay? And if you want to be in power, you've got to come up with something, okay, financially. You've got to do. You said about the council tax again. Firstly, you're laughing again. Okay, good. Let's see it. Okay, basically, what do you think is going to happen after 3 years? That's 3-year funding formula. We're sitting here, I'm talking to officers saying we need to put the council, if we're still here, in a good place after 3 years. We don't know what's going to happen after that. If your guys are in, wow. And we don't know what Lib Dems are going to do. Jesus, no one knows what they're going to do. We don't know what Reform's going to do. We have to make sure, it's our responsibility to make sure that this council is in a very good, secure place after 3 years of a Labour government, in case they don't get back in again, okay, that it can still function properly. So please agree with the budget tonight. Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Right, thank you. So, and with that, the motion is before the council. So members will be asked to cast their vote individually to be recorded in the minutes.
Councillor Abbas.
For.
Councillor Ahmed.
Abstain.
Councillor Ajizola.
For all.
Councillor Amjid Ali.
Abstain.
Councillor Umi Ali.
For.
Councillor Yaron Begum.
For.
Councillor Bridgen.
Abstain.
Councillor Bennett.
For.
Councillor Chowdhury.
For.
Councillor Farouk.
For.
Councillor Franks.
Abstain.
Councillor M. Fry.
Abstain.
Councillor Hanif.
For.
Councillor Javeria Hussain.
For.
Councillor Javid Hussain.
For.
Councillor Mahmood Hussain. Councillor Samia Hussain.
For.
Councillor Isles.
For.
Councillor Keynes. Councillor Alia Khan. Councillor Aslam Khan.
Abstain.
Councillor Latif.
Abstain.
Councillor Lovell.
Massive for.
Councillor Mahmood.
For.
Councillor Anwar Malik.
Abstain.
Councillor Rahana Malik.
For.
Councillor Marshall. Councillor Mead.
Abstain.
Councillor Miller. For. Councillor Moore.
Abstain.
Councillor Nazir.
For.
Councillor Nichols.
For.
Councillor Raja.
For.
Councillor Roach.
For.
Councillor Salim.
For.
Councillor Simmons.
For.
Councillor Steer.
For.
Councillor Stevens. Councillor Dave Taylor.
For.
Councillor James Taylor.
For.
Councillor Underwood.
Abstain.
Right, thank you very much. And with that, the motion is carried. Don't leave seats yet. There's still some items to deal with. Right, so we now have the housing revenue account. So I invite Councillor Roach to move agenda item 5.2.
I move the recommendations of the Executive set out in paragraphs 1 to 2 on pages 171 to 172 of the agenda. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Is the motion seconded? Thank you. Are there any questions? No? Okay. Are there any amendments? Okay. Does any member wish to speak to this motion? Okay. So the motion is before the council. Does any member vote against the proposal? Right. Thank you very much. The motion is carried. So we then have the Treasury Management Annual Investment Strategy. So I invite Councillor Roach to move agenda item 5.3.
Roche? You're making me posh. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move the recommendations of the Executive set out in paragraph 2 of the page 179 of the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Is the motion seconded? Thank you. Are there any questions? Are there any amendments? Okay, does any member wish to speak to the motion? Okay, so the motion is before the council. Does any member vote against the proposal? Okay, so the motion is carried. And with that, that concludes the business for this meeting. So thank you very much.